Good morning. Dr. Steve here from Lachlan Botanicals. Got the Lachlan Botanical shirt on this morning. Got the hot coffee. I'm sitting here on the old homestead. So what we've got for you today is another guided meditation. There'll be shorter sessions today. And I'm going to do a little bit more explaining about meditation and some of the processes that we go through. So as a review, mindfulness, which is what we're trying to achieve through meditation. Mindfulness is being in the present moment by choice without judgment. The without judgment piece is a tough one. But we do know that we can be in the present moment by focusing on our breath. And when we focus on our breath, what happens is we're using the part of our brain. When we focus on the breath and feel our breath, we're using this part of our brain in the left, which is different from our thinking centers in the middle. This morning, we have black flies. So let's see how mindful Dr. Steve can be with black flies. Because remember, it's without judgment. So I could have a judgment such as, why are these black flies bothering me now? Don't they know how important this video is? Or I could go, oh, there's black flies. So there's different ways that we can get ourselves distracted when we meditate. There's sort of the three big ones are we either think, or we worry, or we plan. So right now in the background, there is a car because we live on a farm, and with horses, there's people coming to look after horses. It would be easy to hear that car while we're meditating and go, oh, why is that car coming right now? Why is that car disturbing my video? But I just don't see it that way. I think I also told you that sometimes to get going, I'm a coffee guy. And so sometimes to get going, I like to just have my coffee. I'll have a few sips when I close my eyes just to help me focus. So take a few sips. Now to meditate, what we do is we sit in a erect position, fold our hands on our laps. It's still a little bit cool out this morning, so I've got my lap covered with a blanket, which feels really nice. And I'm going to close my eyes, and we're going to breathe in and out and focus on our breath. I'm going to guide you with some comments about how to breathe. And when we do that, you'll hear me breathing quite loudly and intentionally. And I'll have some comments about how our minds will wander. So let's see how we do here for maybe about 5 minutes. So let's take 3 deep cleansing breaths. Now we'll get ourselves into a regular rhythm. And of course, you'll notice there's lots of Lachlan Botanical birdies in the background. I did not hire them. They've come voluntarily. And we could choose to think that this is wonderful, these bird sounds. We could choose to think it's a distraction. Or we could just listen to it. That's my choice. So as we're breathing now, listen and see how many different birds you think you can hear. It's not a contest, it just is. Breathing in, breathing out. It's easy to sit here and start planning your day, which is different than meditating. If you find yourself doing that, perhaps you can just breathe in a few times and go back to the birds. Breathe in and out. If you find your mind wandering, back to the breath. I like to think it's just like that you fell off your bike when you stop meditating and start thinking. And all you have to do is go, oh, I fell off my bike. I'll get back on again. There's no need to judge. There's no need to think to yourself, I am the world's worst meditator and will never master this. We all can breathe. So let's take 5 big cleansing breaths and then we'll open our eyes and have a short little chat. Okay, and back. So we can hear those sounds in the background. You probably can identify that those are crows. Quite loud, aren't they? I think crows are pretty cool. They certainly look after all the dead things that happen in the woods, so they provide a pretty good function. Some people find them annoying. It's just easiest to listen to these sounds and take them in as we can. And you know, they teach meditation in the U.S. Army. They started teaching it in the 90s during the first Gulf War, and they actually found that they did it in boot camp, and they found that the cadets or the boot camp soldiers that learned mindfulness were more successful, and for them, more successful meant it was less likely to be killed. And once they'd completed the study, they realized that mindfulness was so important for these soldiers to stay in the present moment that it was actually unethical to not teach mindfulness to everybody, because they now knew that mindfulness would help keep their soldiers out of harm's way. You know, Navy SEALs, the U.S. Rangers, they all do mindfulness training. And one analogy that I heard, which I thought was neat, remember I talked earlier about falling off your bike? They talk about like lifting weights like a rep. So if you're meditating and then your mind wanders, you just go, oh, my mind wandered. 1001. And then back to meditating. So when we're meditating, we can plan, we can worry, we can think. A common thing that happens is people may congratulate themselves while they're meditating. It's like, oh, wow, look at me meditate. Feel that air come in and out of my nose. Aren't I meditating amazingly well? Well, that's a judgment. Sometimes it's good to have thoughts that make us feel good, but the opposite is what most commonly happens, and that is, oh my God, my mind keeps wandering. I really stink at this meditation. I'm no good at it. Well, everybody can breathe. So you fall off your bike, you do another rep, you go back. Remember, every time we breathe and feel that air, we're moving the processes in our brain to the part of our brain that doesn't worry. So let's see now. Let's just give it a couple more minutes of breathing and we'll call it a day. So let's close our eyes again and let's just focus on our breath for 2 to 3 minutes. Ready? We'll close our eyes. Feel the air go in your nose. Feel the air fill your lungs. Feel the air come out your nose, maybe warmer than it came in. There's Mr. Crow. He just is. Few deep breaths, and when you're ready, we can slowly open our eyes. Well, thank you so much for joining me with this week's guided meditation. I'm Dr. Steve, Lachlan Botanicals. I hope you have a great week.